Hey guys, welcome back. It's so good to be back in this car, man. It's been like 2 weeks, and like it probably doesn't sound like that long, but dude, 2 weeks felt like an eternity, bro. It's currently 6:20 in the morning, so today is gonna be a fun day. I'm very, very excited. It's been a minute since I've seen Harrison, so he does have a new exhaust on his E46, which I'm very, very curious to hear. It's supposedly very mild. It's a Borla exhaust too, which is pretty cool. He spent a lot of money on it. But yeah, today also meeting up with Tim for the first time. Tim's been watching my videos for a minute now. He also watches Harrison's videos. And he's got a gr86, which I've never actually driven one before. So today we're gonna try that out. Many people think of the gr86 as like the Miata's #1 competitor. Like whenever people are deciding like, oh, which small Japanese sports car should I get, it's always like Miata or gr86. And I've driven the Miata a bunch, obviously, but never driven the gr86. Apparently it's supposed to be a pretty different experience, so I'm pretty excited. Oh shit, what's up, Tim?
Oh,
dude, good to see you. Yo, Harrison.
YouTube is fake.
Alright guys. God damn. Hey man. So we're headed right now from here to the PCH, I believe. But yeah, he said that fucking duckbill he has on his car comes stock, dude. It's fucking huge. But yeah, we just got some coffees and yeah, now we're gonna... Caffeine is mandatory, dude, on these types of drives. What the fuck? It gets your senses clear. We got a JDM Euro sandwich right now. Dude, this is... Oh boy, we're on the twisties now. Dude, these roads are fucking amazing. I'm gonna start coming out here. It's like you can actually enjoy them at the speed limit. I feel like at ACH you gotta drive too fucking fast, dude. Woo! That was a fucking crazy turn. Woo! All right, so Tim agreed to let me drive his gr86, the competitor to the Miata. Oh, he sits hella far back. All right, let's see here. Oh, is this... Okay, so the clutch feels similar to the S2000 clutch. Ooh. First impressions right off the bat. I mean, I'm not taking these turns quickly, but very little body roll. Almost no body roll compared to the Miata. Feels extremely planted. Yeah, dude, this feels so planted compared to the Miata. The clutch feels fine. I mean, I wasn't really sure. I definitely slipped it a little bit more than I normally would, just because I didn't want to risk like jerking the car. But I think it feels very intuitive. Holy shit, dude, the fucking... It definitely feels like it's got more power than my Miata. I think the suspension in the gr86 is actually a lot stiffer than the Miata. Like, I feel like it feels more similar to driving Harrison's car than it does feel to my Miata. And I feel like just driving on this road, obviously it's a pretty nicely paved road, but like when I go over bumps, it's more of just like a duduk as opposed to like duduk and then like, you know? So I think, I feel like the dampers are probably a lot more stiff than on my Miata, which makes sense. I think the gr86 suspension is just a lot more dialed in than the Miata stock. That throttle is weird, dude. It'll like, you push it down and then nothing really happens, and then all of a sudden you feel like a big jerk. It almost feels like there's like a dead zone with the throttle. Yeah, dude, so planted. Even with my Miata on lowering springs, this feels like it has less body roll than my Miata. Wow. Oh my God, just sudden torque, dude. It feels almost like a little bit twitchy. I feel like maybe because the suspension is stiffer than my Miata, the turn-in just feels like a lot more sudden. Like this car in general just feels more twitchy. Like the throttle feels more twitchy. Because like you press down, it feels like there's a bit of a dead zone, and then suddenly it's just like a burst of torque. And then because of the suspension setup, like the turn-in is just very sudden. I feel like it reacts much faster to inputs than my Miata. This is what a properly dialed fucking track suspension probably feels like. If I probably poured like an extra like $1,000 or $2,000 into my suspension, it would probably feel closer to this. Definitely does feel more dialed than the Miata, and this is completely stock, the suspension. It definitely doesn't feel as like lively though. Like I think I kind of see what Harrison's saying about like it feeling a little bit numb. Like in my Miata, it feels like you're gonna die on some of these turns, but here it feels so planted. Like I'm sure it would feel great on a track, but I almost feels a little bit numb. Yeah, the gearing definitely feels shorter than my Miata. Like this car just feels more dialed in every way. It feels less like a daily than my Miata. It feels more like a track car. Okay, that downshift was easy. Yeah, dude, this car is definitely easier to drive than my Miata in terms of like the clutch feel. Like in terms of being a manual transmission, clutch is very forgiving. Wow. But yeah, turn-in is... Dude, that's so dialed. Wow. Dude, I like it. Okay, I'm letting out the clutch too fast. Okay, there's a lot of rev hang though. Holy shit. You gotta hold the clutch in. You can't just dump it. There's a shit ton of rev hang. Wow. Yeah, I don't like that, I will say. That's interesting that they dialed in so much rev hang. Yeah, that's weird. Very confusing. So, the clutch is heavy, like heavier than the Miata. The shifter is pretty notchy, and the throws are very short, and there's very little space between each of the gears. The suspension is very, like, pretty dialed, very planted. I think the struts, the shocks are definitely stiffer than on my Miata. Like, all of that feels very track car-esque, but the rev hang just feels so uncharacteristic of everything else. Like, it's weird. Dude, I can't get over that exhaust sound though. It's so nice. I love how deep and like aggressive and like throaty the engine sounds compared to the Miata. Like that boxer engine, dude, it's nice. Yeah, dude, this rev hang is very confusing. Maybe it's just because I'm coming from a car that is renowned for having like very little rev hang. And maybe like most manual cars feel like this, because I haven't really driven like that many other cars, but that's weird, dude. Oh! Oh! Was that me? Was that popping me? Holy shit. Dude, this exhaust is fucking outrageous, dude. I need to get me one of these fucking Borla exhausts. Jesus. Yeah, when you like rev it out, dude, the rev hang goes away. The rev hang is only really present when you're not really revving it out. This car is only fun to drive at like when you're in the higher rev ranges, because the rev hang goes away. The throttle response feels more consistent. The dialed in suspension like kind of wakes up. I think when you're not really driving that hard, like it feels a little bit muted. Dude, I can totally see how you could like, if you like get on the throttle the wrong way in the middle of a corner, like you get on a little too much, I can totally see how you could oversteer in this car, because it's just suddenly like, it just suddenly activates. Oh, Lotus Elise? Holy shit. Woo. Oh, another one. Yo. God damn. All right, guys, so we are back in the Miata. It's fucking hot outside right now, but final verdict, I think overall, if you have it as a track car, because when you're on the track, right, you're pushing it to the limit. Like, you want a car that will give you confidence on the road, because you're pushing the car to its limits and you're trying to get as fast of a time as possible. And one of the most important parts, I think, of driving in general and driving fast is confidence. You need to have confidence in everything you do. And I think the gr86 in stock form gives you more of that than the Miata does. The suspension feels more dialed than the Miata suspension, at least in stock form. I was able to pick up rev matching like insanely easily, but I will say the only part for me that was confusing was just like the rev hang and the weird throttle response. And I talked about this a lot earlier, but like everything else about the car gives you confidence, except those two things I feel like can take away so much of the confidence. I'm realizing more and more now that I'm pretty spoiled. Like, I didn't really think about these things as much before when I'm driving my Miata, but now that after driving the gr86, I'm able to appreciate more how the throttle response is pretty linear and the rev hang is non-existent. I never really experienced rev hang before, and after experiencing it, I can't say that I fucking hate rev hang, dude. So yeah, dude, final verdict. I think if you want to buy a weekend car and you want to be competitive in autocross, or you want to take it to track days and feel confident, then the gr86 all the way, dude. It's insane how dialed it is. It's literally just a budget track car. In terms of pure driving feel, I can see how the Miata would be better, how it would be more fun. But I think in terms of filling the niche that the gr86 fills, which is a very specific niche, it is being a super budget-friendly track car that's already really dialed in as soon as you buy it. Like, there's literally no other car in the market at that price point that can do what the gr86 does. If you want to get a Miata to feel as dialed as a gr86, you probably need to spend like a couple $1,000s on good quality coilovers and sway bars and like better brakes. And in the gr86, like all those things just come stock. But yeah, I am gonna drive back to Rachel now. Every time I fucking go out for these morning drives, bro, like I always come back later than I anticipate. Like I literally left the house today at like 6 o'clock and it's like fucking almost 12:30. But yeah, dude, solid day. Shout out to Tim for showing me and Harrison some of these roads around Malibu and just being like a super nice and chill guy. It was really great meeting him. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.